CM450 has a twin-cylinder engine, and each cylinder needs its own carburetor. What we have here is a set of carburetors that are plumbed and synchronized to one another. Together they make up the carburetor assembly. This face of the carb connects to the airbox. It has a larger diameter orifice than the opposing side and these extra air ports on the top. This part faces the left-hand side of the bike, and we can see the fuel inlet as well as one of the air cutoff valves. This is the face of the carb that connects to the intake boots on the engine. These two things are your idle air adjustment screws. Be careful when removing them, as they have a small washer, springs, and O-rings in there. This plastic knob adjusts your idle RPM. This is the accelerator pump housing. You can access and replace the accelerator pump just by removing these three screws. These are the two drain screws that you can use to empty the float bowls of fuel, and here is where the second cutoff valve is located. Start by removing the two screws holding down the top cover. Lift the top cover off and then remove the spring. Next, slide the vacuum piston out of place, but be careful not to bend the jet needle that's dangling on the bottom of the piston. Finally, remove the plastic vacuum seal ring and set it aside. Perform the same procedure for the other carburetor. Try to keep the parts neatly organized so you can reinstall the same components back into each carb later. Taking a closer look, we can see the plastic air jet cover held down by a single screw and washer. If you're planning on submerging the entire carb body into carb cleaner, it's a good idea to remove this plastic part so it doesn't become damaged by the cleaner. Now we can flip the carb assembly over and start removing the screws holding down the float bowls. Lift the float bowls off the carb and you will notice there's a rubber O-ring seal that fits in between the float bowl and the carb body. This O-ring will usually be included in your carb kit and usually should be replaced if it shows signs of aging or damage. Remove the drain screw from the float bowl to inspect the condition of the O-ring seal. These seals will usually not be provided in a carb kit, so be prepared to have a replacement O-ring handy just in case the old one is damaged. Now remove the rubber plug covering the slow air jet. The plug can become hard and brittle over time, so it's a good idea to have a spare on hand to replace it with. Next, remove the slow jet and secondary main jet. The secondary main jet is the small piece on top threaded into the slow jet. My slow jet is already loose, so I can just unscrew it by hand, but you will need a small crescent wrench or a socket or even a small pair of pliers to loosen it up. Be slow and gentle with all these parts, as they are made of a very soft metal alloy that can become easily damaged. Next, we can remove the primary main jet using a flathead screwdriver. Using a small flathead screwdriver, remove the slow air jet. This is the same port that the rubber plug was inserted into. Once it's unthreaded, you can flip the carb upside down and the jet should just fall out. To remove the floats, a small retention pin must be slid out of position. I use a bicycle spoke, but you could also use a round out push pin or some other small diameter poking tool to press the pin out of place. With the pin removed, the float can be lifted straight out. Notice that the float valve needle comes out with it. The rubber tip on the float valve needle will deteriorate over time, and usually it does need to be replaced. Now we can remove the pilot screw. Be careful when removing this because there are small hidden parts involved. There will be a spring, a metal washer, and a rubber O-ring. They're all very, very easy to lose. I'd like to turn the carb upside down when unthreading it, and then make sure that the O-ring, spring, and washer are all accounted for when the screw is totally removed. The last thing we need to remove is something that I forgot to take out earlier. It's the needle jet holder that was underneath the primary main jet. To get it out, use a flathead screwdriver and carefully remove it from the port. Be careful not to damage the internal threads with the screwdriver. We should now have all of the jets and holders removed from this side of the carb assembly. Just perform the same procedures on the other carb before starting the cleaning process. If your carburetor has an accelerator pump circuit, and not all CM450s do, you will have a few extra parts to deal with. You can remove the float bowl and take the accelerator pump along with it, or you can remove the accelerator pump first. Either way, it's going to work. I'm going to remove the entire float bowl first here. Notice there will be a small O-ring on this accelerator pump check valve. Usually carb kits come with this replacement. It's not a bad idea to swap it out for a new one. We can also see the accelerator pump rod poking up through the top of the float bowl. I'm going to set this float bowl to the side and disassemble all of the jets from this carb before opening up the accelerator pump. Once again, remove the rubber slow air jet plug, the primary main jet, and the secondary main jet. Here is a crescent wrench being used to loosen up the slow jet. Be very careful doing this. Now use a small flathead screwdriver to extract the slow air jet, and finally the needle jet holder. Use your poking tool to slide the float pin out of the way and lift the floats and float valve needle up and out of the way. Finally, remove the pilot screw and its spring, washer, and O-ring. Here's a close-up of the assembly order of the pilot screw components. They're very, very small and easy to lose. Just ask me how I know. There is one additional rubber part that I forgot to remove, and that is the accelerator pump rubber boot. Gently compress it with a small screwdriver and it will pull right out. This part helps keep the accelerator pump plunger clean, so if it's deteriorated or torn, it's probably a good idea to replace it. Since I'll be submerging this carb assembly into carb cleaner, I want to remove all the plastic parts, which include this RPM adjustment screw cap. If you're going to be using a can of pressurized carb cleaner, then you don't need to do this step. Now it's time to remove the air cutoff valves. This one is exposed and very easy to access. Just remove the 2 screws holding it down and be careful not to lose the parts that come flying out. There's a spring inside that will want to push the cover right off. There will be a very small O-ring, a spring, and a cutoff valve diaphragm under the cover. If the diaphragm is split or getting brittle, it would be a good idea to replace it. To reach the air cutoff valve on the other carb is a little more tricky. If you have an angled or very short screwdriver, you may be able to access it. But for now, I rely on using a small screwdriver bit and a pair of pliers to remove the screws. I insert the bit into the screw head, and then while applying downwards force with my finger, I rotate the bit using a pair of pliers. It takes a little bit of dexterity to do this, but it can be done. Finally, let's take the drain screw from the other float bowl and get to work on disassembling the accelerator pump. It doesn't take much. All we have to do is remove 3 bolts holding it in place, and then make sure not to lose the spring that wants to pop out. The diaphragm rod assembly just comes right out nice and easy, and then you're going to want to inspect the rubber diaphragm for damage and set it aside. Usually it's just fine to clean the carbs with a can of compressed carburetor cleaner. It's actually a lot faster as well, but today I'm going to be submerging the carb assembly into a bucket of carb cleaner. I found this on sale a few years ago, and it's just been a really inexpensive option for me, so I just decided to dip instead of spray. When dipping, damage can occur to rubber and plastic parts, and the cleaner can actually start to corrode certain types of metal alloys, so don't dip it for too long. I usually let each carb soak for about 5 to 10 minutes max. I also put the jets and float bowls into the dip basket and let them soak for a few minutes as well. As soon as you're finished soaking, you need to use an air compressor to blow out any debris as well as the leftover cleaning solution. Spray the compressed air into every opening and passage you can find in the carb assembly. Also blow air through all of the jets and jet holders you remove. This will ensure any debris or contaminants are evacuated. As a side note, if you're using a can of carb cleaner, just spray it into every opening you can find on the carb, especially into the small passages and into the jets and the holders as well. The spray is very volatile and will evaporate quickly, so cleanup is just basically waiting a few minutes for it to dry out. Once the cleaning is complete, it's time to reassemble. Since I removed the plastic RPM adjustment screw, I'm going to thread that back into place first. With that step complete, I'm going to start installing the air jet covers into each carb. I'm not sure if this is a good idea or not, but I use a little silicone spray to clean up the plastic seal rings. I think the spray is plastic and rubber safe, but if you're not sure, just use a rag or maybe don't try to clean it at all. Mine were just slightly discolored, so I wanted to shine them up a little bit. I wiped down the jet needle and vacuum piston with a clean paper towel and inspected for any damage. You won't need to disassemble this part, but in case you want to, it's fairly easy to do. Remove the plastic cap and then use a flathead screwdriver to remove the jet needle holder. Once complete, just turn the piston upside down and the jet needle will fall right out. Assembly is the opposite. Just slip the needle in and then tighten the holder back in place and put the plastic cap back on. Insert the vacuum piston back into the carb. It's keyed, so that means it'll only fit one way. Replace the spring back over the piston and finally install the lid and tighten the screws holding it into position. Do the same for both carbs. Now we can flip the carb assembly over and start putting the other side back together. I like to start with the main pilot screw assembly since it can be a little finicky. Make sure you have the O-ring, washer, and spring installed on the pilot screw before you start to thread it in. I like to turn the carb upside down and then start threading the screw into place. This way the O-ring doesn't dislocate and get mangled up in the threads. Do the same for both sides and then make sure you gently seat the adjustment screws in as far as they will go. Don't force it, but you'll know when it doesn't want to turn anymore. From this position, unscrew them 2 1/4 full turns back out. This will be the stock tuning position, but usually you will have to make more adjustments with the bike running to get the engine going just right. Next, I like to thread the second secondary main jet into the slow jet before I install them into the carb. I just hold the slow jet with an adjustable wrench and tighten the secondary main jet into place. Then I hand tighten the slow jet back into the carburetor and snug it up with the wrench. Be very, very, very careful here. You don't want this to be too tight or else the soft metal threads will strip and you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Now thread the primary main jet into place and snug it down with a flathead screwdriver. Pop the pilot screw into place and snug it down with a skinny flathead driver, then reinstall the rubber plug over the pilot screw hole. Make sure the float valve needle is attached to the floats and put the float assembly back into the car. Reinsert the float retaining pin and make sure it's centered in the mount. Now it's time to put the accelerator pump back together, and remember you can do this part with the float bowl attached or detached. Either way is fine. Insert the diaphragm followed by the spring and then replace the cap and snug the bolts holding it into place. You can test the motion of the accelerator pump by pressing down on the plunger rod a little. I'm using a little silicone spray to lubricate it a bit, but I wouldn't do this again and I don't recommend doing it. The chemical may damage the rubber and the residue may accumulate dirt. Don't forget to reinstall the drain screw into the float bowl, making sure the original looks to be in good shape. Finally, install the shaped O-ring into the retention slot on the float bowl. And don't forget the small O-ring over the accelerator pump check valve. Pop the accelerator pump rubber boot back into position and make sure it's seated well. To install the float bowls without dropping the O-rings, I'd like to turn the carb upside down and install it this way. Once in place, it's just a matter of snugging down the bolts to hold it all together. Do the same steps for the other carb and reassembly will be complete. I'm spraying a little silicone lube on all the hinged components, which I don't really recommend, and then giving it a final wipe down. The carb is now reassembled and ready to go back into the bike.